Hello everybody, this is queenstatic here and welcome back to my channel. Today is another opera singer reacts video, and I actually have my computer up here because I have notes written down on my computer. But this is going to be another death of my YouTube career, but I'm reacting to Gabbie Hanna's EP Bad Karma. I have a whole note list written out for Two-Way Mirror, but I realized that my views kind of changed on that EP, so I want to go back and listen to it again and do, and rewrite my notes kind of. I started to, but I want to make sure I do it justice. Anyway, as you guys know, Gabbie Hanna just released her second EP. Now, I thought that there was going to be quite a few tracks on here. And let me just preface this video by saying I'm an opera singer. I do sing pop music in my car. I do sing musical theater in my lessons. I'm not an expert on pop music, but I sure as hell know about opera singing because I've been studying opera singing for the last 11, almost 12 years. So, if, you know, you guys can at me all you want, because I'm not really bashing Gabbie. I'm taking her music and her voice and taking the good parts of it and making it better, or trying to make it better, or helping her to make it better. I don't want to make this video that long, so let's get right into it. We're gonna start talking about the first track, which is called Glass House. As you guys know, I reviewed Glass House and Dandelion already, but we're gonna go into a little bit more of a depth, or the depth of this, right? Did we reviewed Glass House, right? Yeah. I feel like this song is eerily haunting, which for me, if you guys know, my favorite holiday is Halloween. I love me some eerie stuff. I love me some spoopy stuff. Spooky, spooky, spoopy, spoopy, spooky, spooky. I actually got the award when I was in the haunted house I did at university. That was the spoopiest soprano. But here, her lower tone sounds like she's almost swallowing, so it almost sounds like almost sounds like she's doing something like that, which is not, it's keeping it all in the back of your mouth, and that's not something that you want in any type of singing, because it's actually a lot of tension and things like that. And I even put in here, let me explain for those of you who I should have put aren't musicians. This can be fixed easily, you know, instead of wait, what was I doing? It might be an over exaggeration, but you just kind of push it forward. Yeah, and that's how it sounds. And her middle notes, and that part of the passaggio of her voice, you know, the passagios are the breaks in the voices. Typically you have a passaggio in your chest voice, your middle voice, and your head voice. For me as a soprano, I can sing pretty much in all three of those. Not to toot my own horn, but you just heard how low I sang. Like, I'm singing like, that's a D flat and a D above the staff for those of you guys that are non-musicians. Like, that's like a high, like, yeah, not warmed up enough for that, but it's like not quite Queen of the Night status, you know. But her middle notes are really, really, I don't know, they sound really smooth to talk about it. Like, I don't know, that's definitely not the melody, because I don't have perfect pitch, so we ain't trying to do that melody. And I even wrote her voice sits very nice in that spot, and it does. And as a singer, you want to hear where people's voices sit and how they sit, and she, you know, she honestly does have a really nice voice. She just needs somebody to somebody that really cares about the way that her voice sounds in order to really hone in her potential. That's her money house. I meant to say money notes, but that's definitely the money part of her range, as we call it, the money notes. Glass house, fall out, down. Glass house, my glass house. Like the glass house, or however she does it, glass house. However she does that part. She goes down in a couple places. And that does sound nice. And you guys know that I'm salty AF about this part. She posted a thing on her story on Instagram because somebody asked her what elements are on this album, and she said, oh, it's gonna be a little bit of everything, including opera. Now let's just okay. Let's just talk a little bit more about this and a little bit more in depth. Okay. So opera in its own right is a sport. If you don't believe me, ask an opera singer. Legitimately, it's a sport in its own right. And there's high parts in this song. I think this is the only song that has the really, really high parts, and that tone is not opera. It might be like a musical theater-esque chorus, or, you know, an amateur chorus. Like, I hate to say it that way, but, like, I mean, it's not bad. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that it sucks. I'm just saying that it's not opera. And so many people think that so much is opera. But the tone is not opera. It is an opera! And I listen to a lot of opera, okay? My jams are Marriage of Figaro, Don Giovanni. I really like Rigoletto. But I think the two Mozarts are my favorite. Don Giovanni and Le Nozze di Figaro, or The Marriage of Figaro. And I mean, I only majored in opera, so I gotta know something about it. Also, I'm about to flex right here, okay? So, my first voice teacher that I had at community college went to the Mannes School of Music, and I believe it's Manhattan, somewhere in the city. Then she went to Juilliard, and she's also a Metropolitan Opera alum. So I kind of got my money's worth with her. So, you know, to know what opera is like, I should know. I studied with somebody that actually sang on a professional a professional stage like the Metropolitan Opera. I'm not saying that that's the only house. That's just the biggest opera house in the United States. So, you know. And my current voice teacher is absolutely amazing. You know, he's obviously got his degree in vocal pedagogy. No, he's great in his own right. You know, he's helped me discover a part of my voice that I never knew existed. So good. I will also put the definition of pedagogy on the screen if y'all don't know, because pedagogy is so easy. Pedagogy is so easy. Yeah, so I know a little something about opera. So yeah, I know a little something about opera. Also, there's a MIDI marimba sound at the beginning that, however it goes, it's an awkward sound. That is what we call MIDI, and that is in a lot of pop music today, and it's kind of annoying to classical musicians because we pay money to go to school to study our instruments. And yes, the voice is an instrument. I don't care what anybody says, but the voice is an instrument, and even people that study percussion, they have to learn how to play marimba, and the marimba is something that they could very easily go to a music school and say, hey, you know, can you come in and play marimba for us so we don't have to use a MIDI track? But they still use MIDI track. It's kind of annoying. It's a preference thing. Whatever. Oh, I even wrote one thing that would have been cool is if she had worked with opera singers. Yeah, we have paid money to study under some of the best vocal teachers, some of the best opera singers in the world. We've paid to study under, and you just kind of throw it out there and you're like, well, I have opera on my EP, like, okay, it's not opera, it's not opera. There really is a lot of technique that goes into singing opera, and there's voice teachers here on YouTube that want to say that opera singers think that their technique is the be-all end-all of all techniques. Listen, I'm not going to sing in my opera tone when I'm singing pop. I'm not going to sing in my opera tone when I sing musical theater. That doesn't happen. I'm an opera singer. I enjoy singing opera, but I also know how to change my technique to accommodate to doing things like belting healthfully. Healthfully, is that a word? Whatever. And I wrote in here, also, people are going to be asking, if you studied opera, what gives you the right to comment on pop music? Also, people are going to say, but you don't have your degree in performing arts. You're right, I don't. I have a certificate of music. I'm about 3 classes away from getting my associate's degree, and I would love to go back and get my bachelor's and maybe my master's degree in performing arts for the voice, but right now that's not in the cards. There's a lot of variables that are preventing me from getting my degree, so let's just talk. Let's just talk. You know, if it wasn't for people like Mozart and Handel, you wouldn't have pop music. You know, Gregorian chant was the first type of vocal music. In fact, it was some of the first forms of music around. And Gregorian chant is boring AF, but it's also really cool to listen to and discover and like that. So I guess my rant is over. The repeated lyrics. That's common in pop music for a lot of things, and people think that it's really, really common in opera music, but opera music follows a lot by the classical music style. So we have like A sections, B sections, sometimes we have C sections, and I sing a piece called Gretchen um Spinnrade, and it's by Franz Schubert, and it's Meine Ruhe ist hin, mein Herz ist schwer, and there's 3 sections of that, either 3 or 4, and then there's like the other verses, wo ich ihn nicht hab, das mir, I always forget that, and then there's more, and it's, you know, there's certain sections, like the Meine Ruhe could be considered an A section if you want to think about it that way, and the other sections could be like a B section or a C section, you know, that type of thing. Yep, binary, rounded, binary, ternary, yeah, I mentioned all that in my notes. Pop music is also very repetitive. They tend to use a lot of the same chord progressions in all of pop music. Sometimes you can't tell because sometimes it'll have like an appoggiatura here or passing tone or something that makes it more. Also, for those of you guys that don't know what that is, it's just kind of like ornaments on the music. But it kind of makes the music more smooth sounding and more catchy and things like that, but you know. And it's a preference thing for me with the words, but you know, whatever. And I even wrote, the thing that is my favorite is how haunting this track is. Even the ending is trying to be in the style of opera, and all I see is red. Again, I feel like it's not opera. I'm also going to say that this is for sure not my favorite one of her EPs that she's released, and that's true. I really liked Two-Way Mirror more. I don't know, I liked some of the songs better on Two-Way Mirror than I have on Bad Karma. Anyway, speaking about Bad Karma, let's get to this. I actually have a shorter review of the Bad Karma track. So I said this one starts in that money spot in her voice, so it must start in that like middle passaggio area. Then she goes low, and again I can hear that she's swallowing and pushing. Now, typically, when you're singing low notes, you shouldn't always go into your head voice unless, you know, that's what you have to do. Like, when I go into this part of my voice down here, it's also not a chord, I just press 3 notes. When I go into, like, this area, I'm not in my head voice. I'm in my chest voice. I'm singing more from here than I am from up here, if that makes any sense. But that literally, like I said, that's something that she can fix, and I think that it would be really advantageous for her to study with a classical musician. And I'm not saying that, you know, she has to study opera, but just so that they can kind of help her with that part of her voice, because I think that it would be really, really nice if she worked on developing that part of her voice. I really like when she stays in that money spot. And I wrote, some people aren't meant to sing low. I'm not saying that she's not meant to sing low. I think she just needs the guidance to be able to work on that more. And I said, I feel like this is something I'm going to talk about the whole video. For real, though. And no, she definitely needs work on her breath support. That's something that a lot of pop singers have. They don't have breath support. They don't. They do not have breath support. Breath support is something that is crucial to singing, and I don't think that people really realize how crucial it actually is for singing. But, you know. And I wrote, I know it's different work on breath support. Breath and placement are usually the things that fix a lot of issues. And I wrote, Gabbie, if I'm ever in LA or you ever in upstate New York, hit me up and I'll be glad to help you with some of these things. I mean, maybe. Depending on the mood that I'm in that day, but yeah, definitely, you know. Or hit up another opera singer in the area. There's so many, right now there's so many opera singers that are unemployed that would be more than happy to give you a voice lesson because of everything that's going on. They'll probably do it over Zoom, over Skype, over something. They would probably do it with you. I hate that it doesn't have a solid cadence. Yeah, it's kind of got like, I feel like it's got like a half or like a deceptive cadence. It's really weird. It might not even like have a true identifiable cadence. I would have to look at the sheet music and look at the chord progression to be able to see, but it definitely does not end on the tonic because it kind of just cuts off and it doesn't make sense to me. Like deceptive cadences, they start on a tonic functioning chord. So what that means is that it's a chord that typically has do in it, so it has the tonic of the key in it. The tonic is always the first note of the key. So like say you have C major, that tonic of that chord is C, and the tonic functioning chords have that. We have dominant functioning chords as well that have the dominant or sol, or in the case of C major it would be G. Also for those of you guys that use fixed do, it would also be sol. We use movable do though, so. And I said, and you know what, I feel like Glass House didn't have much of one. Glass House definitely had more of a solid cadence than Bad Karma did. Definitely, though. I even wrote, I mean better than this one. I feel like this one is also very repetitive. Yeah, I listened to Bad Karma, and I think I listened to it like once. And I was like, I don't know if I can listen to it again. I wrote, also, repetition is something you can change, but this EP made me bored by this track. I mean, it did. I'm sorry, Gabbie, but this EP is just bored. I don't know if it's because I have been listening to so much more classical music. Not just particularly opera. I've been listening to, like, violin concertos, and I've been listening to symphonies, and masses, and requiems, and, you know, I've been listening to so much classical music because for me it's so stimulating and it's so entertaining. I enjoy it. Maybe that's why. Again, a preference thing. And one of my best friends likes the next track, and I know I don't like this track. I am listening to these tracks multiple times. Yes, I am. And I haven't listened to this track since then. I don't even know if I finished it. Did I? Yes, I did, because I wrote in closing. So the next track, track 3, is Special. That's literally what I have down. The breathiness. Well, I'm spinning all over my computer. And it says, I have an honest-to-God question to ask you, Gabbie. Does your throat hurt after you sing this song? Because, oh my God, mine would be. This is in the money range, but I can't get past the breathiness. This is a problem that she has in every track on the album, is her breathiness. And this is why I talk about breath support. You know, you can't sing like, people always talk to me a shit they didn't need. That's singing more from your throat, and you should be singing with supported air, which the breathiness would go away if you sang with supported breath. Or support. Dang allergies, I hate this so much. You can sing, oh yeah, you can sing piano with support. Singing piano with support takes so much breath support and effort because you're singing quiet. Whereas when you're singing loud, you don't have to use as much breath support. You don't. You don't. It says, actually, you need more air to sing piano than you do for it. Yes! So, I mean, I don't have too much to say about this track, but the diction isn't great either. I can't understand what she is saying sometimes. There's so much vocal strain on this track, even the ending of the phrases. They just die. I want to hear them sustained. Now, even in opera, like, I'll use one of my 24 Italian songs. I have this song that's called, oh my God, that's called Set to Mami, and we go, say, nice job, Kristen. That is not even on key, not even the right key. Sei tu, mami, sei tu, sospiri sol per me, cendi pastor. So, like, this is crescendo and then ritardando. And the beginning says piano, which I know that that's not piano, but I'm using this as an example. So if I were singing that like Gabbie sings these phrases, it would be se tu mami, se tu sospiri sol per me genti pastor. And in the opera world, especially since pastor has a fermata on it, you want to go, I can't start in the middle of that phrase, oh my God. Se tu, mami, se tu sospiri, sol per me genti pastor. You know, you want to make sure that it's supported and full. And there are places that you can take breaths, and like we know where we're supposed to take breaths and this and stuff like that. And wow. I literally want to hear her phrases sustained. And like I said, it says you can choose to go piano at the end of the phrase. Like in De Vieni non Tarar, there's a part that goes in corona. Wait, that's not right. There's a part that does a mezzo di voce. In corona. In corona. So Metro di Voce looks like this on sheet music. It's basically a crescendo and a decrescendo together, and basically you're getting louder in the middle and then softer by the end of the phrase. And that takes a lot of breath support, girl. It takes a lot of breath. But you don't want that to die up there, you know, you don't want to go in corona. Wait. In corona. Wait, I didn't take a good enough breath. In corona. You don't want it to do that. You know, especially since that, like, is in that opera, that is Susanna's, like, only huge aria. You want that to be important. You want that to be big. You want that to be special. But and I said, you know, it's not the worst thing that I've ever heard. It's also not the best. But like I said, a lot of this track is a lot about technique. Maybe show how she could change up this. Yeah, you know, basically, it's about breath support. It's literally 110% about the breath support. When I have to sing my high sustained notes, like the D flat in Sempre Libera, which I'm still working on getting down, the melismas. When I'm doing something like that, you know, I have to learn where my placement has to be. If I have to drop my larynx and raise my soft palate, how much breath support I need to sustain those notes for what I need to sustain them for. I need to figure out when I have to take that breath to sustain those notes. I have to figure out how to prepare for those high notes before I get to the high notes. Literally, opera's a workout, but like, even with that, like with the ending of the phrases dying out, you have to figure out how to prepare how you're going to go to that end of that phrase. You know, even if it descends, like I'm terrible at descending scales or descending anything. I'm horrible at it. I suck at it. But it is what it is. Dandelion. You guys know that that's a preference that I don't like. I mean, that's how she says it. It was whatever. I'm from New York. We have like 3 different ways to say soda in New York, so, you know. Also, we have places like Skinny Atlas and Schenectady, which are hard to say. People can't say Schenectady or Skinny Atlas. Skinny Atlas is literally Skineedles, or spelled like that. Also, we also divided on whether or not to say pop or soda. When I went to university, I went to a college called Fredonia, or a university called Fredonia. That's in Western New York. It's all the way on the other side of the state. And they say pop, and I'm like, nah, it's soda. But that's where I'm from. I even wrote it's soda, BTW. This is one of the songs with the low part of her voice. Again, it's really breathy. Breath support. Even when she sings on her Instagram Live, I can hear it. Or not Instagram Live, but just on her Instagram when she posts on her stories and she's singing low down, I can hear that breathiness. That breathiness is not good for your voice, girlfriend. I was like, there are parts where she actually sings without being breathy, but when she is singing slow, I can hear it the most. It's noticeable too. I'm not sure if it is noticeable to people that aren't singers. The one other thing that bothers me is the part where she goes, oh, what a shame. There's vocal tension there. You can say that if it is done safely, it is fine. But with the breathiness she has, it doesn't make me feel confident in it being done safely. Yes. She does something like, oh, what a shame. And like she goes like up this like weird place and like she almost cracks. But not really. It's weird how she does it. But it's just like, you know, you can hear the tension in her voice when she does it. But whatever. Oh, yeah. I've heard her talk before how she's going for a certain sound. And that's all great and dandy, but you need to understand that not every voice is made for certain styles. That is true. So I don't have much time left to record, but I can't sing places like I can't sing people like Taylor Swift, so. And I said, take opera, for instance. We have several divisions of the voices, like coloratura, lyric, spinto. So we are usually given, the keyword is usually, rep that is in our voice type and something that fits the style. I prefer to sing German Lieder or Mozart, which is true. Those are things that I'm good at. I also sing some Verdi, some Massenet, some Tchaikovsky. La, la, la. We don't talk about that last piece though. We don't. We don't talk about my Tchaikovsky piece. No. Nah. I will forever have nightmares about that song. Yep. I may have even thrown that piece away. Haha. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. There are certain things that you can and can't do, and a lot of times you need guidance on what you can or can't do. I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket the first 7 or 8 years of my musical training. Yep. Literally, go watch my old performance videos. Yep. Go watch a video. Go and watch a video when it's uploaded called My 10-Year Challenge. I haven't done that yet. I will do that eventually, though. See how bad I was? I couldn't hit a G5. I don't know if that's different for other people. I don't know. I may be wrong with the numbering exactly. I learn numbering differently. Listen, I know that Gabbie is still in her learning process, which is true, and that's why we are here. We aren't here to knock people down. We are here to help them grow. Anyway, one more track. Woo! One more track. I can finish this in the time allotted. Happy. The phone thing again. See, this one isn't as breathy. I can still hear it a little, but it's not horrible. Exactly. I like that she does a little bit of an ornament. It's a flip. I know there's a name for it. There is. I remember this. I remember listening to this and I was like, oh, that's cool that she did that. I don't have the whole EP pulled up, so I can't listen to it right now, and it's going to take far too long. My recording will probably shut off before then. So, I would suggest you go and listen to it. It's not too far into the track from what I remember, but, yeah. It says the actual upbeat part is not my favorite. I actually really, really don't like this part. I forget why. I don't know why I don't like that part. This is preference again. Don't hate me if you like it. I feel like it's too sarcastic. I also hate that it's just like, I'm happy, 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 happy. Dude, I ain't happy right now. That's probably why I don't like this track, because I ain't happy. Listen, you guys know how I feel about that type of repetition. Dude, one word on repetition is horrible. Horrible. It's a pop song, but there are pop songs that aren't that repetitive. I'm about to be a little harsher here. I'm sorry. If you know me, you know I'm not a mean person. Sometimes I am. But everybody has that side of them. But I want to say this. This is not a song, nor is this EP on my playlist. I'm literally listening to classical music right now. Yup, because I had to get the breathiness out of my head. Actually, German Lieder, the song I butchered in the masterclass. I did. I forgot my words. Don't judge me. Ugh, excuse me. I'm not saying it's that bad. It's just not my cup of tea. It really isn't. I liked some of her older songs better. Okay, but we're gonna get into that. I said, and I feel like she didn't put as much work into this EP as she did her last EP and the songs that came before these, like Pillowcase from Two Way Mirror. Oh, I wrote a bad word in that lie. Me up. That song was, I actually really like that song. I still do to this day. Butterflies, yes. I wasn't a huge fan of the layout of the EP, but even on that EP there were songs I didn't like. Listen, there were Paramore songs, yeah, that's true. I was a big Paramore stan in high school, and when they came out with Self-Titled, I kind of fell off the Paramore bandwagon for a little while. Self-Titled to me was the worst Paramore album ever. I like 3 tracks off of there, maybe 2, that's it. But I have an in-closing statement. I'm not hating on Gabbie. I'm really not hating on Gabbie. You know, what she does outside of YouTube and what she did in the past is not what I'm reviewing and critiquing in this video. She can be an awful person, but I'm not going to knock her down for her musical journey because I've been knocked down during my musical journey. And that's not something that I want to do to other people. I want to support other people. I want to make other people feel wanted and accepted. And I want other people to be able to respect being a musician. Whether or not we're classical, musical theater, pop singers, whatever we are, I want us to work together as a group of musicians, you know, because we can be respectful for people. We can respect people's journeys musically. We don't have to like them as a person, but we need to respect the journey that they're on. And that's the way that I feel about Gabbie. And I said, I'm not here to hate anyone on our musical journey. Exactly, we are all at different stages and it's fine. Yes. I said, please don't send hate my way. Literally. I mean, I'm a better poet than Gabbie, but listen, okay, I did minor in creative writing, so for me, that's part of the reason why I'm so picky about, like, repetition and things like that as well. I should have majored or minored in poetry instead of fiction, but I've been told that all the time. But, you know, I said, it is not cool that I want to be a pretty chill community. Word. Don't send hate my way. It says, remember, I'm also a classically trained singer, which means my technique varies from pop techniques. So 110% true. We can talk about the differences in pop and opera techniques and the reason most pop singers fry their voices, but A, that is probably boring, and B, it won't change the mindset of most pop singers. Anyway, if you guys want to, I copied 2 steps. If you guys want to accent that like button, subscribe. Maybe you guys should tell me if you have a favorite song from this EP. Yeah, tell me. Tell me what your guys' if you guys have listened to this EP, tell me what your guys' favorite song is and maybe why, or what it means to you to enjoy the song. Because even in classical music, you know, a lot of times the interpretation is up to the person who's putting on the stage production, not necessarily the singer. But a lot of times there's different ways that you can interpret the song. And different people interpret songs different ways. So yeah. I go, ooh, oh, also hit that notification bell and remember, and to stay up to date on all my uploads. And remember to do the most important thing today. That's to share a smile. This is YouTube suicide. Bye!